I told you this guy's a genius.
Self-proclaimed, maybe.
Well, as long as it works for him.
Exactly my point.
Awesome. Okay, it's incredible. I always try to resist filming myself, and then I end up listening to this inner dialogue. Should I not? And then in the end I'm like, whatever. I've come this far, or I've gone this far to try to predict how this is going to be. I also decided to not do full range now. I feel cold. It is now possibly around or below 10 degrees Celsius. I have no thermometer. It's just according to my feeling that I receive from my feet, which are as usual bare. Not as usual, I do have shoes, but for an endeavor such as this, it is imperative, which I believe to mean unavoidable or consequentially or something, because if your spirit has shown you what your standpoint in life is, what are the things that you say yes to and what are the things that you say no to, like a clear, determined no, where you say no, I do not want to go there now, simply because I'm afraid to make a mistake again. There are so many ideas in my mind that make leaving my home and going to the boulder hall a real life challenge. Going out of your way to be with other people, right? To be in the presence of others. And then you could call that being in communion with each other without having to say a word. Just your presence, your here I am, this is it. I have no idea how other people experience this. I can only try to relate to it to how I used to feel about life, which is a world of seclusion, separatedness, terror, uncertainty, emotional instability, going from I feel good and suddenly I'm angry and having no idea why. And these are just shifts in yourself in which you feel like, you're going in and out of yourself. When you reside on the inside, you feel good. Somebody comes and talks to you, you feel uneasy. You start feeling a little bit restless because what are the expectations on the outside? And how does that stand in relation to what I feel on the inside? Because if I want to retreat, then why am I in the open? So we could talk about the yogic way, seclusion, experiencing oneness alone with yourself, with nobody else. These kinds of things. I was trying to get back to doing, nature photography, but meaning just wants to push through and say, hey, what are we doing? Wasting away in these concepts. I keep craning or droning about concepts because it's, I started to ask myself, and now introducing the question, what does it mean to be smart? Right? What does it mean to be smart? Because we claim to be smart, or humanity, these beings that look like humans, you know, a bit like me, they claim to be really smart. But I have recorded an episode for my podcast called something with what outsmarts us, demonizing what outsmarts us. Well, I'm just trying to be hopeful in saying I still have a website, because I could say there's a list on my website. But time will show if, you know, I cannot, that's the thing, right? You can never be too certain until you're seeing it or until you're holding it in your hands, right? And to the moment where you know, see your child for the first time, you can never know that you had a child. And now I'm being flooded with uncertainty again, my personal situation, feeling like I'm in love with a woman, and that stands in contradiction with, you know, women I have been with. How am I supposed to feel toward them? Should this be a way back? Going to the boulder hall, having met someone I've been with before, and having shared the experiences of delivering a child together, holds me in this kind of social position where I kind of feel indebted to this woman. But then the question is why? I gave what I had, and when I had nothing left to give, I moved on. But now the question is, if you see each other again, what would that mean? You know, my standpoint is clear. But I still feel this need from someone else to maybe speak with me or whatever. But I don't know, I have someone else I feel indebted to. And if I just keep choosing other women or running back to the ones that I used to be with, even in my memory, then that may cause trouble for the relationship I am trying to have with someone I met, and after which I started to do all this art. Now comes the question, is she responsible for me doing this art? Or was it just, you know, the last straw? It was just too much, couldn't take it anymore, all this rejection and all this hate and violence between men and women. You know, was she just my starting point where I said, never again am I going to get back with someone who treated me like this? But you see, it just doesn't seem convincing anymore. This look she gave me, because we did meet in the boulder hall. You know, there's someone I used to be with and blah, blah, blah. You know, the look I'm just trying to understand what people are trying to do. What is their hidden intention of being with a man? You know, just to forget the time, to chill, you know, to have it a bit easier because now you ended up being pregnant and you're uncertain whether... Okay, now starting to talk about privacy and the lives of others. The chance that she would ever hear this, very small. You know, I never have once held back on a truth. If she would confront me and try to get back together with me or say I owe her something, you know, okay, I would listen, I would probably smile, I may say something, but I also have to say I didn't really like her that much. And that's a really, you know, already when we were together, I remember us smoking some weed together. You know, I'm barely managing to hold myself together in this creative process. You know, where I try to find this balance between being alone at home in seclusion, you know, feeling comfortable, and then choosing to go out in bare feet. Yeah, I mean, they're still red, right? If you ever do this in cold weather, which, you know, makes your feet in the beginning really sensitive. Movement is always better. And being in bare feet just pulls me back together, you know? It's like that cold shock, you know, the harsh reality of outside life, you know, in winter, or heading towards winter. This is still autumn. You know, it's just grabbing you by your balls and asking you, okay, are you strong enough to maintain boundaries? You know, even if the woman looks really like an help, you know, that's what a lot of women do. They just act weak because they're too lazy to be strong. Now that's a very interesting thing. And why do they do that? Because they want a man they can suck dry. Because, you know, that's where people lack self-love. You know, some women can only be strong for others. And then they just let themselves go, you know, if there's not a man, you know. But you can never be sure of that, you know. I just wanted to be with a woman. You know, this is my spiral, if you don't get it. This is my spiral. I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in this being at home and choosing what I'm doing and then asking myself if I'm doing this to be with a woman. Am I doing this for a woman? You know, for what am I doing this? Am I doing this to be rich? Am I doing this to appear really good? You know, I'm actually not quite sure why I'm doing this at all any longer. You know how I feel about what I'm doing? I feel like I have to talk and film myself. And I also feel like there's some kind of reward somewhere. But I don't really know what it is. But I have a strong feeling what it's not. And when I feel like there's a false reward, then I just have to pull myself back together and I have to say, okay, going to the boulder hall could mean running into someone, right? A woman that may have need for male company, okay? But if I am claiming to be in love with one woman and considering her to be my wife, whether or not she's here and I can see her, you know, I cannot even reach her. And then the question that remains to be answered is, it's really intense now. I haven't seen so many people in, you know, what feels like weeks. And now suddenly, you know, I felt like I was so afraid. I was so afraid of everything, you know. So you have to be able to switch your consciousness and just distract yourself sometimes from these topics and just go there and see what's going to happen. Because in the moment, you know, if you have practice living in the moment and dealing with the now, you know, if you know what it means to do that, then what it gives you is the possibility to make kind of random choices that are according to your intuition. And that today was also about my dress code. You know, sometimes there are so many options. You know, should I wear this jacket? Should I wear these trousers? Should I wear this hat? Or should I wear like something more cozy? And then I try to imagine myself how I'm doing something, and then I'm sorting out the nays, and then in the end I'm stuck with one thing. You know, and that's what I also do with women. You know, for some reason, sometimes I say just choose fear, man. If this road scares you, then go there. If the boulder hall scares you because of a woman, you know, I think you should really go there. Not because you have to have sex with her. You know, it's always a possibility. Because maybe the woman that I think is my wife is just someone I hang on to because I'm afraid to get injured again. You know? Because how would I know? You know? You know, it's like, sometimes I even feel happy about this. Oh, wow, I could be... Yeah, but then I think, this is going to really take my focus off my work. Because I've already been with her. And she's really greedy. Because, you know, some women have unstable homes. And then their fathers are kind of never there, or they reject them. And then these women, they kind of are being left off with these feelings of, you know, I'm not enough, you know, and then they look for partners that, you know, they can just dump their shit on because they just hate men. And I've been in many of these relationships where women had intense experiences with men, and then they just looked for one partner after the next, and all the relationships always crashed, and it was never them. It was never them. You know, it was always the other guy. And of course, then the guy can live in the same kind of principle in his mind. So I was trying to understand what the word concept artist means. Because I was like roaming around in my head, like boom, 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 concept artist. And then also, what does it mean? What have I said? You know, I say always how I'm in love with one woman, but it feels like it's just an escape. It's just an easy way out of actually loving a real life and flesh woman. And then the question is, maybe I have a reason for that. Because if I have this, you know, other woman always there, where I say she's my wife, right? She's not here, she may not even exist, but you know, just consider me taken, you know? I don't have time anymore to fool around and to make believe that we are anything else than what we are. Because if I've already been in a relationship that was solely terrible and solely about the woman I was with, you know, it was her melodrama, it was her trauma. And even when I told them, you know, this is your problem, you know, you've been left by your father, you know, and she would just hear, what a fucking asshole, you know, that's what she said, what a fucking asshole. You know, I've done this with women now more recently, you know. I had like this very clingy cousin that kept coming back to me and just, you know, told me everything that was good in her life, and I was just crawling through mine, you know, like, and then it comes this call, yeah, I just came from South Africa, I was super nice, blah, blah, blah. I think, why are you telling me this? You know, and then it's like, break up the relationship and all that kind of stuff, and I just told her the truth, and I just shut the door right in her face. I mean, I don't know how I did it. I just pushed her energy out of my vicinity. Like, I don't think she can ever reach me again unless I open up to this. I just did like, boom! It really happened. I mean, it really happened. It astonished me, but I've seen other people doing it. You know, I've seen someone delete a message at will. Because we were in a group together, and, you know, we were like, yeah. We did like, let's call it a ceremony. You know, we spent time buzzing through our lies maybe, or something like that. And somebody started a voice message from whatever, somebody he knew. It's like, boom! The one guy just deleted it. It was gone. Like the guy who played the message said, it was deleted. And then the one guy said, yeah, why do you play this now? You know? This is no time to bring in other people. It's like, boom! You know? If you can't deal with us, then maybe you should leave. Because that's what the message was, really. You know? If you can't deal with us, then maybe you should leave. But he stayed. And we just, you know, marveled at it. But it also scared me. You know, if they have these kinds of powers, then what are they doing to my mind? Because I certainly had weird dreams during that time. So to me, going to the Boulder Hall is actually a really smart choice. Simply because it's predictable. I know the way. I've been there a couple of times already. And it's a safe environment to engage with people, also on an intense level. And basically all I have to do is just be present, be aware. I don't have to be worried about being assaulted or, I don't know, gang raped or something. You know, the worst that could happen, but I think maybe I found a solution for that, is to get one of these lockers, or maybe just have faith. You see, that's just the conundrum I'm stuck with. Then of course spatial awareness, and also being aware of your energy field. When do people step into it? When do you have to create more distance? These are all things that I can learn in the Boulder Hall. It's kind of my experiment ground, so that I can get better at understanding what other people are trying to say to me and communicating with them. in whatever way works. Sometimes it's more like physical communication, you know, showing how straight you are, which is something people often, you know, misunderstand as weakness because they think, hey, you can't chill. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm trying, but I really feel like I have to move all the time. And that's what people, you know, drives people really crazy, literally crazy, that I'm the way that I am. And so for today I have prepared myself for the same kind of routine. I continue to show myself to the public, to make them wonder who I am. So I'm wearing bare feet, which I have done for years, which is my way of showing there's a better way of living than to just always be comfortable. Because what has set me apart from most of my peers is my ability to, you know, see challenges where other people see folly or something. You know, so when I say, you know, I want to walk barefoot, then I'm going to walk barefoot. And when other people say it, you know, they just stick to, you know, I don't know, some kind of beach. And, you know, private gardens or something, and I just do it wherever I want to. Okay, in a large city I may probably wear shoes, but I actually think I prefer not to, because, you know, it's this, just let people marvel at you a little bit. And with that I mean to say, just let them wonder who you are, and, you know, that increases the range of your message. And my message is, hey, I'm here to say something. I'm here to say something, and I'm saying it, you know, no matter if you're listening to it or not. You know, I have my own ideas about health and what is healthy. So today I woke up, I drank a coffee, I recorded one of my art sessions, you know, and I was like, I felt bloated, and yesterday I ate lots of food. You know, and I've been smoking a lot recently. I've been, you know, secluded. Now, like I said, I just stayed on the inside. You know, I watched occasionally Rick and Morty, right? And then I watched Avatar, you know, The Last Airbender. Just some of the episodes. Sometimes I just switch through them. I don't know. I'm just working with what I have available. I read a bit in Harry Potter, but my mind is so easily distracted, because I have so many things that I want to do, and every time I try to relax, other things come up. So I try to read Harry Potter, and then I read 5 sentences, and suddenly it's like chichum, chichum, you know. Okay, you have to understand how this works, you know. You listen to me speak about, oh wow, look at the leaves, there are leaves lying around. And while you're intently listening, you know, what are leaves in your life? Because what I'm seeing are leaves, but what are you seeing, you know? Because now I'm distracted, you know? I can talk about random shit that stands in basically no relation to you, and you may still have an insight about the relationship you had with your parents, right? Just by me being out in the open, speaking about these things, there are so many places here that can pick up, you know, something you remember. And I basically do this all the time, but I do it in front of my inner eye. So I'm not confined to what I'm seeing on the screen, because I'm listening on the inside, and I'm turning within while keeping an eye on what's happening on the outside. And then I'm in constant conversation inside of myself, you know, to progress, to move on. Why am I here? What am I doing? So I'm kind of the constant observer, you know. Okay, you know, who can I engage with here? You know, who is there? And what is going on? You know, it's like, sometimes I feel like there's like an SOS beacon. I feel like I'm being demanded. And I'm not sure why. It's like, sometimes I feel like I'm being demanded to go some places. I'm being really turned towards certain places. You know, I'm really turned on by the notion of women. Strong women. But all I found is like weak women. And weak men. And dangerous and angry men. And, you know, all kinds of stuff. You see, now there was like a white beacon, and then dangerous men are going to hide in plain sight. You see, now I was really distracted for some time. You know, I kind of forget where I am. Ah, okay. Dangerous men rarely hide in plain sight. They always go to places that are secluded, which is why these areas here are really frequented by people, which is why I go to the boulder hall, because it's an open space, and there I can just be open without being afraid. That's what I think. But I also think it's better to create my own space. But sometimes I feel like in order to do that, I just need to channel my energy through some kind of portal. And what I've realized is every time I went to the boulder hall and I was working on my book, Mentality of a Warrior, you know, I felt like charged up and powerful, because I just had a 1 hour hike behind me, a chance to speak my mind openly, and, you know, also to recharge myself in the presence of others, or to just let it flow. Because at home I always feel so restricted, but there I can just open up like completely and just fill the entire thing. And then you ask yourself, does that stand in contradiction with what you are trying to do, which is creating your own space? Or are you really working with what you have available at the moment, which is, you know, just a little bit of money, you know, but a little bit of faith, I hope, you know, whatever that means. And then you try to be more humble. So I do see how there could be lots of people here beating me up or something. You know, they could cheer me on. You know, so whenever I have a vision, it might be one of terror, and it might be one of, hey, nice, you know. So the vision I'm having of me being just alone inside all the time, like I think Terence McKenna was a lot, it's just inconceivable, because life outside is so interesting and I like making new experiences so much that, you know, the only thing that could keep me trapped on the inside would be my fear of, I don't know, being touched, or I don't know, being discovered as a fraud, or I don't know, right? Blah. All these words. They seem to be necessary because we are living in times of insecurity, which means if you are really insecure, then you are going to have a problem to open up to anyone. So the least I can do, who is traversing these places of fear or whatever, you know, energetic things, you know, who's traversing them like a madman, but somehow manages to stay sane by doing art. And that then gives me the opportunity to speak about it and to simply say, you know, I just wanted to question what this was all about. You know, I just wanted to question what this was all about. Okay, what did I forget to mention? Beautiful. It's cold, you know, but don't mind that. I mean, if it's above zero, what could really happen? But of course you have to get used to this. You know, I'm still getting used to this, you know, and that's saying something. I have realized sometimes I have too much strength, and that's why also being barefoot relaxes me, because it massages out these these shortcomings I have in my own life. You know, engaging with someone. You see, there were really interesting thoughts we were having. You know, it's like this whole group mentality. But what I wanted to say about Amsterdam was actually, first of all, I like autumn. I really like autumn. This is one of the things I like. You know, if I try to explain with words how indifferent I sometimes feel about where I actually am, it's not true. You know, because I wanted to be in Amsterdam, but I'm kind of stuck here. And if you are a man with a vision, or a woman or whatever, or just someone who thinks you could have a different life, then ask yourself, how long is it going to take before you can accept the place? Because right now I feel like, what am I supposed to do here? I need to go somewhere else. But then maybe I just want the fast road, you know, maybe, but that's bullshit. Because when I was in Amsterdam, I felt right at home. I wanted to stay there, but I was sent back. And the question I was asking myself ever since is, was I sent back simply because it wasn't the right time, or was I sent back because I would never be allowed to go back to Amsterdam? But what I realized is that I actually wasn't really interested in spending time with any of the people here, which may be just something to keep me from spending too much time on the streets and just confine myself to the inside and work like a horse to make art and generate an income for myself. But today's Saturday, so I think I can consider this to be the weekend, and I can say, you know, maybe it's time to let go of the past and just climb like we never met. You know, or we have met, but we also know, you know, I think it's better to never have sex again. And I just don't understand, you know, who's the me now in relation to the guy that was standing under the shower 2 years ago or something, and hearing a voice say inside of himself, let go of sexual desire. Let go of your sexual desire. It's like, shaboom, right in your face. What have you been working on all this time? Let go of your sexual desire. It's to the point where I am not even fazed by porn anymore. Where I just say, no, I'm content. I know how to hold myself within. Okay, my hand still helps me to bring me relief, which is something I'm trying to let go of. But am I willing to sacrifice this one-handed relationship and tell myself, like, that's my female side massaging me, you know, she's gonna come one day. You know, is that hope or is that folly? You know, is that just being deluded? You know, hope is for presidents and dreams are for people who are sleeping. That's what Andrew Jackson Jihad sang in one of his songs. You know, it's a very, you know, distorted version of what I'm saying. Because I'm saying, you know, yeah, of course, I mean, what's hope? It's being able to imagine a place somewhere else. You know, these places are really challenging. Yeah, so question, you know, I don't like to hike, you know? I mean, I'm not a big fan of hiking alone, you know? I just get so bored going hiking on my own, which is why I think, you know what would be better for me? Would be living next to the ocean, and I can just go for strolls along the beach because that's enough for me. I don't need to walk that far. I'm kind of short-sighted, you know? I see what I have available, and I can feel myself into the future and make choices, right, that were too large for me at a later stage. So at this point, I actually say, you know, I don't really choose a woman. I'm just gonna let this woman choose me. And there's only one that I can see ever doing that and satisfying me. You know, that's just, you know, I allow myself to be this man, you know, to be this cocky also. So when I find myself in situations where I'm confronted with other women, which may be good advice for other men, is, you know, I simply always remember how good I felt with my first choice. And why would I go for the second choice? Which is why, if this is the first choice for my life, then, you know, the first choice of this woman, you know, should be able to fit into this life. And all the other women I meet are so busy living their own lives, they could never be open to this kind of life. And this is never say never. Yeah, but sometimes, you know, I do say never. And then I am reminded of this movie. How was this movie called again? This movie was called... hard to say now, a lot of distractions, people standing on the side. Maybe I should go a little off way now, because I haven't done this in a while. Road is also pissing me off. Yeah, I've done this before. I can certainly do it again. And it's just always, you know, there has to be a transition between, you know, the man in the city, the man in the forest, the man in the boulder hall. You know? So this is what opens my heart. This is what opens my heart. Right? And then, you know, why do I want the ocean again? I mean, is this not an ocean? Right? Is this not an ocean of something? You know, is this not an ocean of some sort? Should I always live in the belief that elsewhere was better? You know, until I'm here, which is why it feels so far away, which is why I would like to live close to the ocean, that I'm just in nature, you know, that I can just look, you know, I don't want to live like this anymore. And that's a definite, it's a no-go to live in a city. I'm doing this now because that's what I'm being, you know, that's the option I was being given. Okay, if you live this kind of life, you know, you're gonna get something to help you, but you have to, you know, maintain your space yourself. So, you know, I've been really refusing to work for other people. It's the strangest thing in the world, you know, because it's so normal. And I just say, nah, you know, I just said to my parents, basically, you know, if I wouldn't do this, I'd just live on the streets, because I have no other option. There is nowhere else to go. For me, because, you know, once you're done with certain things in your life, you're done with them. And I just said, I'm done working for others. It's terrible, you know? So, yeah, sure, donations, but how much am I supposed, you know, how far am I supposed to go for you because you give me money? Right? It's like, I can't do it. So sure, I was thinking of working in the boulder hall, but then I was also thinking, what if I would get a different kind of call tomorrow? You know, that said, hey, you can have this job, or you can, you know, you can come here and do this, you know, give a speech. Yeah, I would just, you know, I would just let go of the boulder hall, just like that. And that's the same I feel about all these women that I meet here. I would just use them to make myself feel better, just have sex and like, you know, and then I would just throw them away again. And then, you know, I think these people here are actually better without me. Or they were never better maybe they're better because I'm here, but the question is, how long am I supposed to be here? And isn't it enough if I just come back once in a while and also show, how enriching it is to see something else for some time? Or maybe the real lesson is, make yourself comfortable. You're gonna stay for a while. What is the truth now? In what kind of a situation am I being stuck in? What's my situation? My situation right now is I'm kind of confused. I'm not sure where I'm going. And I think, this can transition into something else. I feel like I'm sliding. Either I'm sliding into place or I'm being washed away. Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled toward Amsterdam, or maybe it's something else. And I just leave it to life, I do not contact people anymore. Usually, not that much, no. I stopped. I deleted most of the numbers that I had. Only have like 4 or 5 left. I'm kind of saying goodbye, is what I'm trying to say. I'm kind of saying goodbye to the places, the people that I left, because I'm going to leave again. And that's why I did spend time here, right? And in a way, I feel like I'm taking myself on a hike, And I'm not sure where to, but I am. I want to be somewhere else. I want to be somewhere else. But is this not the Amazonian rainforest? Are there not people here also that are being threatened by extinction of culture? How important is it? Is my story going to be one that says, another one that left to travel the world? Because I traveled part of it already, but I have a curious mind. I'm being settled into this place. Also by my reluctance to leave it behind, but I can surely go on holiday, can I? Or am I supposed to be a real environmentalist and say, I think traveling and cars are bad for the environment? And then the question is, why am I recording this then? Because servers are also bad for the environment. But as long as servers are being used and cars are being driven, I can talk about these issues, or I can simply stop. And that's a real challenge, to just stay where you are. Where you go on foot. I stopped using bikes. So can I never have a car now? What about car sharing? Is this my life now? If I do use a car, I use somebody else's car, maybe I just don't drive anymore. Question, do you think Gandhi drove? How am I supposed to know? I assume not. I think at a certain point, you are so busy being whatever you are, that's then what enlightenment is. But you actually need people to keep you alive. That's the story from, a lot of enlightened beings. I kind of managed to keep myself alive, but I could not imagine, doing my tax deductions, because I just don't have a mind for that. I have to envision. I'm a visionary. You cannot just lump everyone together and say, everyone has to do tax deductions himself. It just doesn't work like that, because, my mind works like boom, open, seeing opportunities and possibilities, and just like rushing straight in and making, first-hand experiences. I'm like on the forefront of spiritual enlightenment or development. How can we change society to reconnect with our nature and to be happy? Because if I know how to walk here, and I know I can come here when I feel bad, then this is kind of a safe environment for me. But if I go and travel, you know, I have to feel the thrill of traveling. And while I feel like, you know, traveling is nice, would it disperse the energy that I was building up here? Because if I invest myself in the community, then I can really leave a mark. Or I might just follow globalization and leave a mark in the world and forget the people that helped me to survive, you know, if not more than the first part of my life, you know, at least the first, you know, I mean, my parents have always financially helped me. But then the question is, do they really need me here? You know, I felt like I can do help when I'm there. Who really needs my help? You know, I feel like these people don't need help because the life I was trying to show them is too far away for them. That's how it felt like. Or maybe I'm just starting to build the foundation of one of the first really functioning communes. I haven't seen a lot of communes that really worked, that understood enough about channeling energy and creating space in order to really make it work and last. You know, how long would it last? You know, should we just leave all of this behind? Or should we stay connected to the world, you know, of the internet, you know? Or should we just vanish and become some kind of Atlantis, you know, for later stages of humanity to discover? I mean, we're the Atlantis of tomorrow, if you want to call it that. And that is just an interesting thought. You know, people are so, yeah, the trails are so muddy because it rains so much. Yeah, it should rain that much. And I did actually contribute, you know. I did things that I was guided to do. I did rapé at specific places in nature. Was that just addiction? I felt like I was helping the energy. I was just like jump-starting the energy. And if I'm involved in jump-starting an entire ecosystem, then can I ever leave again? I think that's the whole point. If you are being guided to be some kind of creator, somebody that manifests, then you have to know how to let go. You know, you can only do bits and pieces, and I'm being drawn into the world simply by this kind of work that I'm doing. And I think I'm just showing, you know, there are other places in the world, possibly right where you are, and you do not always have to go somewhere else. You know, if I film things from my home now, and I do it international, then people may see it and rejoice. You know, finally someone that understands what it means to be a settler. Well, maybe I am a vagabond. Maybe I like moving around, right? Maybe I like moving around, right? I like to have, you know, pack light and leave for certain periods of time. And for that I would have probably wanted a wife that could leave with me. So, you know, just to boil it down to what it actually says, can I allow myself to have the life that I wanted? And what do I have to sacrifice in order to get it? Which woman do I have to sacrifice in order to get, let's say, if I wanted to be in Amsterdam, what do I have to sacrifice to get there? Is going to the boulder hall an investment into going there? Because can I still boulder when I'm there? Does Amsterdam, I mean, surely they have to have a boulder hall, but it's just going to be packed. So is this not a more homely scenery? Well, the truth is, it just bores me. You know, I like nature. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I'm trying to be in a city. And I'm trying to be there, the creator, not here. So am I deluding myself that I can escape this place because it's my destiny to be here forever? Well, it just sounds like a drag. Just like having a male guru sounds like a drag. No, I want to learn from a woman that wants to learn from me, because, I mean, women can teach things, you know, without saying a word. And there's only one that I wanted to learn from. And she's making sure I'm doing my own thing, I believe. You know, I hope that's what this is about. I hope this entire thing that I'm doing here is about getting back together. You know, getting myself back together. Okay, what's myself? You know, I went to Amsterdam because I wanted to be there. And somebody invited me, but I wanted to be there. I was eager to get there, believe me. But I believe it just wasn't the time. And now this can be delusion again. And this can be truth. So uncertainty is always there. Fear keeps me going. I do believe if I engage with people, you know, in places like boulder halls, you know, it doesn't always just have to be a distraction. You know, it's also jump-starting something else. But at the same time, I feel like it costs me an incredible amount of strength. Something you know, it's better to strain yourself than to just be strange. Because if I'm just alone at home, you know, if I'm just alone at home, then, you know, I kind of forget how it is to be around other people. Because the best moments are when you realize that you need to be quiet. Sometimes it's better to avoid distractions. To just say, whatever this is, I think they can take care of it. Because I'm paving my own way, and this is pulling me away. And if I go there out of fear and curiosity, then I may lose something that I was trying to find. This is blurring my vision, or my vision is blurred. So I cannot always think that everybody needs me. Because right now I need myself. I need to get myself to the boulder hall. And I have to post Instagram. You see, that's what I have to remember. Right? So, always to get back together. And now suddenly it stopped. So it really seems like these things do exist. Sometimes I hear things, and when I look for them, there's nothing. And what is it then? A waste of time. It's just learning that nature can take care of itself. You know what I mean? Nature can take care of itself. You know, I cannot be the guy who just helps everyone. Because if, let's say, I'm in a situation now, I'm walking here with my child and my wife, and then I hear this, just think about it. Could be anything. Could be an animal being tortured by angry people with weapons. Do I want my child to see this? Because I'm not the guy who has to take care of everyone. I just have to manage to stay alive and fight myself through my own lies. Where am I needed? What do I have? Where do I want to be? Do I want to be seen and greeted? Or do I want to be avoided? You see, that's what I'm still trying to figure out. I think I rather want to be avoided, while being seen and greeted is also quite nice. Wow! These things do happen. Okay, this is the path that avoids being seen and greeted. That's the challenges of autumn. I'm just trying to rid myself of my own lies. I'm not here to help everyone. I'm here to help myself. And so, in a way, going to the boulder hall seems really unwise. Because, I'm going to have strength again. And then what do I do with the strength? Okay, I've been pushing through some of my boundaries. I've been letting go of some of my anxieties. 2 days ago, I called on the radio just to open up to the outside world and to see if I can still communicate with others and pull myself back together from the seclusion of my home. Just being kind of my faith or whatever being tested. Are you still going to continue even if we take your website away? How important is this website really? Is this one of life's genius strokes, which tells me, all right, it's time to hide, so that people feel inclined, so they cannot lose themselves in your content and read. No, they just have to buy books because they can't contact you. They cannot get anything. You're trying to accelerate people's greed because there's a chance that they lose themselves in my website and they read all of this kind of stuff. They actually wasn't aware of it. But I was made aware of it when I said, you know, I'm gonna delete my website. Because I think now I've given it enough time for people to just see my content, become aware of me, possibly check out my website, you know, read all of this content, because there's lots of it. But by now, you know, I think it's time to just move out. So I'm just gonna delete it. I think, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Or you suddenly realize, oh wow, you know, I've been showered from heaven. Oh damn it, I just forgot something. Okay, why damn it? It's just the way it has to be. Ah, damn it! No, I cannot log into my website. What? I think, you know, if you make enough choices that are according to a certain goal, that you can actually accomplish that goal. And then be freed of what you thought life could have been like without it. But what are the choices that I have to make, right? So I just have to move out a few things. Don't know how many. But they are there to be moved out. Right. The weight is negligible by now. There used to be times where I really felt the weight. But I learned to lock my arms into these positions, which now makes it much easier. I think like this I can better maintain the illusion. Okay, now just a sec. Okay, first moment in silence. So the story that is always being told is, that nothing is real. That there's no point in doing what I'm doing. Because everyone's already gone. Just because I don't see them at the moment. And that's the delusion of separateness. And believing in this ultimate reality that we see at this moment. Because I have to consider that everything else also exists at the same time. And that of course makes it hard to know what's real. Because if I can't see it, then how do I know if it's real? But there's a car coming, I just cannot see further. You know, I'm kind of being restricted to where I am. Because I pull myself together. Because otherwise I'm just all the time in this cosmos. You know, when I'm alone at home, I'm creating. I'm stuck in this giant cosmos. And pulling yourself back together means you cannot just be deflated. You have to be centered. And the way to learn how to center yourself, for me, is in the presence of other people. Because being alone at home, smoking cannabis, you know, it turns you into this kind of wobbly thing that wonders, you know, what's real and should I even leave the house anymore? Okay, first step is, you know, having a home, keeping it clean, but homely, you know, not like overly clean, like have nice carpets that you like, work with what you have or what life gave you, use your abilities to question but also to settle. So I'm certainly questioning my position here in this city, and I'm being still drawn somewhere else. Which is why it's not that I don't want to work anywhere. It's that I'm waiting for the right job that inspires me to go all out and to leave this small-time psychedelic voyager behind and just live and just buzz through life by living, you know, traveling, marveling at new places. You know, it's still a part of the world. And if I simply act like it doesn't exist, you know, I live now, right? If I want to travel, I should keep up good faith that I'm going to. If I want to be with a woman, I don't know. Just be careful what you do, right? If you're in love with another one, then having sex with random women is probably going to put an end to that. So what you can do, I think you can be in the presence of other women, but just be careful how far you get into these things. Like, be a bit reserved. Right? Just be a bit reserved. Okay, after all this smoking, I know why this turned out to be such an immense challenge. Because I just failed to be able to leave until now, you know. And so this moment is a present again, because I can realize how nice it is also to move out, to leave something behind. And I'm really in this position where I couldn't be with a woman who won't understand this. But at the same time, being with women is really refreshing. But I'm just, you know, until I have my life back on the road, you know, it's already on the road, but I'm still pushing, I shall simply have no sex. Because if I have sex, I'm going to father a child. That's what I think. But it may be a delusion. Only if you think it is. And I want to have a harmonious relationship. You know? One child, one woman. I think it works. You know? One child, one woman. I think it works, because if you have more children, well, also not necessarily. I think siblings are great, because they can, to a degree, replace friends, if you know how to relate respect to each other's individual differences. And just understand that they are indeed different. And then work from that place. The way to have sex with men is just to engage with each other. You don't have to stick it in anywhere. It's just if you're in the presence of men, there's an energy exchange. So is when you're in the presence of women. You know, but if my strength goes into women, they want to have sex. If my strength goes into men, they probably want to have a fight. Sometimes it's good to simply hide what you're doing. Yeah, fuck that. Sorry, F that. Proper speech. Let's just move forward. See where we're gonna get to. Listen to what your heart says. Just keep going. And that was a nice gesture. Even while he was working, he was able to greet me. Did he greet me because he knew me? Does he know my history? Who I've been raised by? You know? Isn't it better to be in a place where people can actually understand where you're coming from than try to explain it to people somewhere else? And I think that's the problem I'm having. I was trying to explain to people how great this place is here, but they're still here. So apparently they know. Because if they would have thought it was so terrible, they just would have left. So the question is, could this be my job? To just leave here and tell people outside how great it is here, and then all the tourists come and then it's ruined. You know, I can still talk from these places. I don't have to say come here, but I mean, this is basically advertising it. Oh, look how nice it is. Yeah, how nice is it gonna be if there's like hundreds of hikers and bikers with their electric bikes? It's gonna be shit. Which is why, you know, better go to the city so that people in the city don't feel like they have to come here to see it. Because what you're trying to say is, you know, wherever you are, just be there. The question is, of course, then always, wow. I'm not sure, I think, oh yeah, she's protecting her calf, of course. Yo, they're vicious, eh? You know, I thought she was checking me out. She was. I don't think that fence would stop him. Right. But unless I'm doing nothing, because I have no hidden intent, right? I don't think I want to eat you. Wow, she was buff, eh? She was buff. You see, you have to know how to keep your distances, because I don't know, maybe if it's a child it's alright, depending on the cow. These people are used to travelers, to hikers, whatever. These people, I said. Yeah, it's like these people. It's a cow, yeah. Is that not people? You see, I like also these habits I have here. And how could I ask any other woman to come here and live with me here? So I was trying to look for a woman that's here. But there just isn't one. Or maybe there is and just trying to be an asshole about it. Maybe she's already right there. And I just say, nah, no, I don't want to touch you again. But maybe I'm the only one that can touch her. How am I supposed to know these things if nobody tells me? Because I think I'm still running after someone else, you know? But actually was never running after her. I just stayed where I was and I thought, well, I assume if she likes me, she's just gonna have to follow me here. And then maybe from here we could go somewhere else, but you know, I don't know, it's just, I guess, stranded here. I started to create this place. I started to help create this place by spending time in the park, feeding it with experiences, making people greedy for next summer. There was a lot of action. There was like frisbees being thrown, playing with friends. We also did sometimes, clean up, but that got kind of weird. Maybe it was just an overload, but I often feel like what's being said inside is you're done. Here, your work here is done. Okay, so what am I going to do then? Well, nothing. You're just gonna see what's gonna happen, and then you're just gonna relax. And then you say, what do you mean, see what's gonna happen? Because then comes the paranoia. Happened to me? What do you mean happened to me? And then I think, it's time to show you your wife. And then you're like, no. Nah. I'll go back and do art. All it takes is sometimes an angry look. Tough, How are you gonna distract me from the truth? I know who you are now. That's what some of the women say. So it's like an open challenge. Who's gonna get you first? Most women I meet are barely in any shape to seduce me into giving them more than just a friendly pat, right? It's like, you're gonna get there, just keep working. That's how I turn out to be, just some kind of daddy, For all the women that have daddy issues, instead of trying to be their husband, I'm just gonna be a shoulder to lean on. Come here. And they're gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing to me? And of course, then they're gonna wanna have sex, because if it wasn't your dad, think of the little girl that's in love with her father. Think of Baby in Dirty Dancing. I thought I would never meet a guy as great as my daddy. Well, and what if you do? What if you meet your father, like your age younger? Something like that. But with extra benefits. Like, he knows how to speak English. He has his own life. I mean, he's getting support, but he's also working in the community. He's, self-employed. What should a woman that wants a real man want else? He likes being active, he likes hiking, he also likes to be alone. He wants to be greedy with his wife, and he wants his wife to be greedy with him. But find a woman that wants to be greedy with you. Only with you. And then, in what way greedy, Do you want to talk? You meet parents and they just, I wanted a partner I could talk to. And you say, I think I wanted a partner that can shut up. And then I'm the wrong partner. Because I can't shut up. And if you hate the talking about me, talking with each other should be really nice. And it should never slow down. Wow. I'm just wasting such beautiful moments, by talking and recording myself. But that's how I feel like. I have had so many beautiful moments already. It breaks my heart. And that's all it takes to keep going. Because it's so beautiful, it breaks my heart. It makes me feel soft again. And so does spending time with people that are suffering, because I don't have to have sex with every woman that I meet. I can smile to women. But, in what kind of way am I going to smile to her? How am I supposed to engage? Eyes say everything. What do my eyes say? I see through bullshit. So, you don't really want to be. You did never really want me. But who wanted me? They're not here. But they may be, right? On the other side, doing the same thing I'm doing, looking for me. I'm looking for me in someone else. And if that person is looking for herself in someone else, and that's me, then we can be together as one. And then, when you're conscious about this whole thing, then having a child is a completely different experience because you're not working against each other anymore. You're working with each other, for each other. And what was that about again? That was something from Rick and Morty. That's just slavery with extra steps. He said, no, they're working for me to work for each other or something. They're working for each other. That's just slavery with extra steps. Yeah, suppose it is. But until then, and what's really slavery? I mean, what's a dead-end job? I mean, if you kind of like it, you know, why am I supposed to keep going to people that I know and then do things there if, you know, in the end I'm just going to leave? Or am I just saying that I'm going to leave because I want people to say, we don't want you to leave, right? You know what I mean? But I want to leave. You know, I want to, in that sense, be like Yogananda, travel the world and see other people. But they would all bore me. You know, I would be like the guy that Ramdas talks about that came to their weird, like, Winterland convention and then just left. You know? Because I would just look at it and think, yeah, you know, very playful. You know, we could have done this also someplace else. You know? Could have done it privately, you know? And maybe he just wanted to check it out and then he said, yeah, just more of the same. Cheers, you know, people getting together, feeling important, getting greedy for money. And that's just who I'm trying to stay away from. You know, people who just want me because they just see this value, you know, like, ah. So I just say, yeah, I know. That's my burden. See? You also have to be a little bit cocky because I know it's true. People wanted me in their places. I was testing them out and then I left. Over and over again. Because it was never what I wanted or what I had in mind. What I had in mind is what I'm working on. What I'm working on is what was shown to me then during these psychedelic voyages, during 8-hour sessions in ayahuasca and stuff, which is an eternity where I was just, I don't know, swallowed up by this soft ocean of emotion. Sometimes also being shown the harsh reality of sacrificing things. I've sacrificed friends, habits, ideas, thoughts, works, you know, ever having a pet, because I just don't have time for it, you know, I don't have time to have a pet, you know. And there aren't many people who can just let go of all these things and then live a kind of life, because I'm not, you know, when I go to the Boulder Hall, I'm not on the same level as other people. It's true, because I am just showing it, I think, with my choices. I don't know. And maybe I'm too full of myself. I think I'm definitely very full of myself, because I spend a lot of time alone. And so I know what I can do, where I've been, and most people I meet here, they've only been here. Which doesn't mean, but it means something. The traveler is always the open-minded, the one who's seen, you know, who can see things in relation to other places. If you only know this place, but I have seen poverty in other countries, like people who really had nothing. And in that sense, you know, Germany is very nice and civilized, but it's also this kind of a safety bubble full of these comforts, you know. Even, I don't know, there are barely people that really live on the streets. I mean, there are people that are wearing disguises, but this is, or used to be, a rich land or something. There's also kind of cultural heritage. You know, it's like the war never really touched this place here. You know, this was not one of the cities that was like bombed to the ground. You know, so it's a real heritage. It still exists, it's still alive. I'm glad I picked this road. Still full of uncertainty. You know, I think that's just what it may mean to be in love, but trying to do it a bit better than Romeo and Juliet. And just keep it together and wait till it's your turn to be fathers and not, you know, lick the lip, the poison of the lips, and then just die. Yeah, life would be different for horses. They look really beat. Hey, this is so terrible. But I think that's just what it is in winter. No, it's actually not. They should just keep walking around and be happy. Be happy for some time. They're just like, what the fuck are you trying? You know, that's basically what happens. Okay, let's say you've been freed and you go to people that are still trapped. Are you gonna inspire them to free themselves? Or are you going to make them angry because they think they can never be free? And as long as you keep being around to show them how a free person looks like, you're starting to be trapped by them, and they can never be free because now they're depending on you. So I like to work with transitions. So I go to places, I go to places, I go to places. It's like throwing a pebble, boom, and then it, you know, jumps, skips a couple of times, and then it sinks. And then it sinks. You're not gonna go dive after the pebble unless you're really determined to never let go of this pebble. It's gonna be impossible. And then you're probably gonna put a GPS thing on there so you can never leave the pebble. You know, I want this pebble for the rest of my life. You know, that's what I don't understand, you know. Is this woman that I keep talking about the pebble? That, you know, the only pebble I will ever have? Or could it be anyone? It's just, I'm so reluctant. I just feel like I feel her so strongly, like riding me towards this goal that I kind of cannot see anymore. You know, sometimes horses are really strange. It's like really like there's a person standing there. It's just like looking at, whoop, is he talking to me? Is he talking to, you know, and that's of course dumping on horses because maybe they know. I mean, aren't they the sentinels? Do not they keep the energy up here? You know, they like channeling energy despite this terrible electric field. Maybe that's like massage for them. And maybe it's the source of their depression. And maybe it's having fences. You see, so if I live in a fence and I realize that I could climb over it, then what is outside the fence? And is it going to protect its surround? Because if you're already conscious, but you're working in a different way, then what does it really mean? Well, it just means that you've realized something for yourself, and in this particular bubble, you seem to work or stay alive. You know, it's at least, it's not worse. And then suddenly you meet someone and you spend time with each other, and then it looks like a giraffe. And then you find yourself in this situation where you think, you know, you're friends, you're best friends, and suddenly that friend was just a helper for some time. And that's what I've often done. And there seems to be only one woman that, even across large distances, seems to give me the feeling, I really want you, man. Like the only one where I ever felt she just left me to get back to me. You know, she didn't leave me because she wanted to feel powerful or something. She just left me because there was just no way that we could understand what we were trying to say if we kept clinging on to the people we were or could be. If we first learn to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. And that's just mostly emotional weight. Emotional. As long as you can hold what you have in mind, you know, how big is it going to be? Is this really a global thing? Am I globally drawing attention to this place, or am I just globally drawing attention to myself? Because I was in Amsterdam and that really sparked something in me, because I was at this thing that a friend developed for me, which is why I feel like I wanted to give back. And I still do, or still contribute or collaborate, because, you know, when I contribute to you, you know, you contribute to me, and we kind of work together for this bigger dream, which is something. And maybe I'm just deluded, but I just liked the adventure. I liked also the African way of life. I liked the distance to this area, but I also have transformed it, if only for myself, into something else. I mean, it's incredible how long I can talk, and I'm always wondering why. It just wants to come out. It's just my way of flowing and understanding what is. But now the reason, you know, now if I go into the boulder hall, I will feel so empty. And maybe that's how it's supposed to be, because there's a reason I let go of that bike. I just wanted to slow down a little, and that slows me down. But why am I doing these things in such a way? Going there, taking my laptop, you know, am I going to write now? Am I going to write now? You know, is this place dying? Is it facing extinction? Is it full to the brim? Is my job to bring people there? Is my job to go there to get more followers? Does this place really exist? Well, in that sense, it's the oldest place that I know. I mean, not this place. That just came to it. You see, and that's what happens if you live in a state of separation or higher awareness. You kind of lose track what's happening down here. You know, being up here, you're building something, and down here, well, why doesn't it look like that? If I'm alone at home in meditation, you know, it already exists. It already exists. You know, up here it already exists, but I'm still down here. You know, I'm already still down here, which is why then I go climbing. To see how good I am also in relation to others, and to just feed at least the idea that, you know, you can do things, and also reach out to the world and just raise awareness. But what does it really do? It may be just a waste of energy. But if I'm alive and I'm supposed to be someone that's alive, then shouldn't I also do things that I like, such as hiking and climbing? You know, I'm not so sure if I like climbing until I've climbed. And there's always this, you know, I'm going there for the internet. You know, this is like the best way at the moment to just drop my shit in the internet. But so much. I mean, I have created so many pictures, and there's more to come. You know, that's what's scaring me. There's more to come. It doesn't end there, right? And that is what, to me, is a very scary place to be in. In terms of dependency, I think, you know, I'm rather dependent on my parents, because they allow me to do what I want and support me in that. And they even gave me this hint that I still have time. You know, okay, thanks. But then the question, can I really take it? And then think back of Yogananda. When he needed money, he went and asked his father, because what he was doing was the worldly work. And that was part of his dharma and his father's dharma. was he had to support him. Only I never asked for money. And the question is why? Because I wanted to be freely given. And I think Yogananda had to face that at one point, because if I always keep going back to my father, you know, I've already done all the work that can earn me a living. Now people just have to realize, because I have created all these things in a very short period of time. I've basically outdone myself. I've created my life's work in 2 years. I mean, that's the mountain I'm living off on. That's the mountain I'm coming from. I mean, I'm living on a mountain, people, you know, and it's inside an apartment or a house. And I'm just like, vroom, you know, I can just pull up the entire city and then go somewhere else, I think. But if I shut down, will it, whatever, you know, just let it develop. Maybe by the time it's done, you don't even want to leave anymore. Yeah, okay, I do have to say, but that's also why I strengthen myself, so that I can withstand intense amounts of pressure, such as, you know, joining a group of people, maybe, to travel in jungles, the Amazon rainforest. You know, I have envisioned this, going through there, reporting. But I'm not sure if I'm maybe lacking the seriousness. You know, I can adjust well, but I'm certainly not the same type of character that other people are. You know, kind of like, I don't know. I think I can focus if I have to. You know, I've shown that in my work, right? Doing these art things, they certainly helped me, but as long as I feel like it's the time to talk, you know, I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna see if there's a car that I recognize, and there's none, which is either she avoids coming here, she came with another car, or she's still coming, or also one of the possible, you know, now I feel like being avoided again. I always feel like that. Anyway, that's enough.